Woo! Happy Saturday, everybody. We're hoping you're having a beautiful day and enjoying the fact that we're into May and spring is moving along every time I go outside. Yesterday, I was very excited and showing Norma Jean the huckleberries because as you look under each little leaf, they're there. And I just want to say hi over to TikTok. We're running live today on TikTok as well and just wanted to let everyone know we're having a chat. And yeah, if you want to join us, we're also over on Rumble and YouTube. You can just look up my name, but I will stay on here as well for you guys. So ask any questions you have about spirituality, inner work. How are you guys doing? Let us know. Give us the thumbs up, share in the likes. And Norma Jean, how are you today?
It's just been a very, creative and, just creating day for me. Just, you know, putting my currency into places and spaces that, will reflect that return, because they say anything you send out, especially when it's been sent out with a word, does not come back void because your word is very powerful. So that's what my day's been full of, especially after we went for that long, very just relaxing walk and just taking in nature, being near water, listening to that, and seeing how much more of the vegetation is starting to really come through because this is that time. It's spring, so April showers bring May flowers, and there's so much truth to that when you understand the cycles that take place in this world.
And speaking of that, to remind everyone that it's nature nurtures. Not only that, if we all look at nature and live in harmony with nature, it will greatly show you. If you're the observer when you're out in nature, nature will show you. We have a cycle. We have, as we go through each moon cycle, as we go through each seasonal cycle, as we go through each 24-hour cycle. And the more you get to know yourself and nature, the more you'll live in harmony with nature, and you're going to feel so much better. You will feel more in tune. You will feel more balanced. We are nature. Everything you eat, when you breathe, the water you drink, God forbid it's not from nature, but really important. So, yes, absolutely. You're welcome, Hope. So, over in the Telegram group, if you're not in there, I did a video on chakras about grounding and sort of the routine I do every day. So definitely check that one out if you haven't seen it. And you just have to go into Telegram across all platforms. If you put in TANJAPOWELL, there I am. And I'm not hiding anything. There's all kinds of videos on YouTube. I'm here just sharing our experience. We share our experience. We share a story, Norma Jean and I, through Adventures for Connection. And every day is an adventure for me. Every moment is an adventure. And so I just want to remind everyone that, yeah, and look at this. So Cure by Cannabis says, out camping and loving life. We're definitely coming back and watch this later. Yeah, absolutely. Go camp. If you're in nature, you get out there and do enjoy. It is one of the most integral things to being human that we attune ourselves to nature. If you attune to anything, attune to nature. Yeah, you can chuck the rest of it. So yes, you'll be hearing about the portal which we found in nature. In fact, we can probably lead with that. Norma Jean, take it away.
It's when was it? About, I guess it was about a little over a week ago. We first took a walk. You'll have to tell the name because I'm still learning all these places you keep taking me.
Yeah.
But we was just walking, walking through, just listening to the nice just flowing river at the time, which was flowing pretty heavily because of the recent rains we've been having here. Mm-hmm. And so we was walking through there, and if you get to a place where you get in very attuned to nature, because if you get out there every day and you're going within every day, you'll begin to start feeling these nudges, or you'll start feeling these zings, or sometimes you'll get a tap, or you'll have something like I think that day when we was walking by, I had my attention was gotten by, usually it's either one of these ears, because it tells me, okay, you need your attention directed here, you need your attention directed there. So I go whatever side that I'm getting I think it was just a, a good ring, and then sometimes it feels like it closes up. So whenever those happen, I just pay attention, like, oh, what's all this? What's going on? Okay. And so we seen this little trail that was going up the side of the little mountain that was right there. And I was like, we're supposed to go over there. So we did. So the closer we got, the more and more I know that I was getting more and more.
Me.
It was one of those you can feel the shift in the environment, and it's because your body's telling you. And what it feels like static. It feels like you're staticky, or you start feeling those staticky tingles all over, or in your crown chakra or whatever it may be. So the closer we was getting, I seen like what looked like a uh it's kind of hard to come up with the appropriate word here, but it was like a shimmer out of
Mhm.
I seen it as I was looking, and I seen the shimmer. I was like, there's a portal there. So we walked on up, and it was, there was a big tree that was off to the left side as we was walking up to it, and then there was a little bit smaller tree that was to the right. And then as we got there, you could feel the difference. And so it was one of those that before I even crossed the portal, I was using my left hand to receive, to in my right hand to to send to the other side. And there was a lot of electrifying going on there. So you can feel it in your hands, because like I said, these are your receptors as well as they are also your terminals. So it just depends on the intention you're setting whenever you're coming across these beautiful experiences, to set that intention that, okay, I'm receiving what's going on here, so that I may utilize or send what's going on here to another side or to another place. And you'll be able to feel it, because it's very electrifying, because that's what goes between the fingers, because that's the masculine energy that's within the hands, because between is electrical, and then the top and the bottom are neutral. But it also coincides with your intention as to how the feminine energy combines with that, as to how you're getting the flow going through. So as I got to the portal, was standing in the middle of the portal, it was just it became more magnetized. It was a lot more uh, heavier or higher in frequency, because you're kind of like, you can feel that energy, just the difference in it, and how it flows back and forth. So it was quite interesting to be able to come across that, and just know that was there. There was many other places that once we got done there, that grabbed our focus, our attention. They're wanting our attention to be in these specific areas, these places, for whatever purpose or reason. And there's always something to see, and always something to feel, and something to experience when you go there.
Yeah, and I'd love to round that out with, when you become the observer and you're really curious, like a child, like seeing things for the first time, and you're out in nature and you start to harmonize with nature, this is what happens, right? They know, the birds know, the trees know that you're aware. They know that you're willing to communicate with them. And so yesterday was also a woodpecker. Right? And then there's been robins landing in front of us nonstop, which is also interesting, which is a good message. So these portals are there and you will pick up on them. In fact, I didn't have a rod with me, but rods are really good about telling you where these portals are. Sometimes they're energy portals between two mountains, and they'll have a portal that's their communication, right? And in this case, it was going from one side of the trail to the other. And so it's quite beautiful that we get to explore this way, whether it's the trees or it's a stick with the roots showing how you can put a crystal in there and it's like a staff. Like, we found lots of beautiful things. So I highly encourage you to really have that childlike wonder and get your hands in the dirt and get your hands in the water and talk to water. Drink that water. And remember that by drinking that water, you're not only nourishing your body, you're picking up that frequency from that water in the river, which is beautiful because it's been mineralized and it's going from, the mountain to the ocean. It's doing what it does. and all the rocks are very smooth. So it's quite fascinating. Yeah. Tango's asking if portals will follow you around. Not to my knowledge. I haven't seen, felt, or heard that. I suppose it could, for sure, especially if it was a personal. Norma, I can see you.
You know, that is an interesting question. You know, at this point, I don't know if I would say it follows you around. I would say that at this point, because so much is coming about and so much is coming
Yeah.
out, that, you know, this place is not what we think it is, literally. And, you know, the one thing that I'm coming to understand as I, you know, continue to know more about myself, and I bring about more about this being that I am first and foremost, which is energy, the more I'm being shown through this vessel what I'm existing in. So it's one of those that I don't know if I would say it follows you around, but I guarantee you, if you stay connected and you want to know, you want to keep that connection, they'll let you know they're there.
Absolutely. And I'd like to reiterate too, is it gets so this past, even just since the beginning of May, I can really feel a difference in the energies. Like this has not stopped. Like almost to the point where it's like, okay, can we back off just a little bit, please? But just pressure and energy moving here. And then, of course, all around my crown. And after we were at the portal and then kept walking, it felt like I had this energetic, like bathing cap on, and there was energy centers all over my head. The other day, it was, I said, oh, sprites dancing on the top of my head right now, like ding, 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 ding. And so just really accepting and allowing, because I just know it's for my highest good, and I won't, there's no, you can't fight it, right? Because you're just, it's not going to go well. So you just have to accept. And I would say that's actually true of most things in your life. So we're just speaking about the energies here, but you know, every time somebody triggers you, every time you're angry about something, you know, I caught something the other day and I was like, oh, that's so true. Your inner child, when you feel fearful, your inner child just wants to feel safe. So it's showing you we're afraid right now. What do we need to do to feel safe? If you're angry, it's your teenager just wanting to, you know, be heard and express. And if in the now, all we want is peace, love, and harmony. It's really all we want. And so now it's merging that all up, literally up from within, right? So your fear and anger are in the lower chakras. And so working on your chakras and balancing those daily, like the video I shared, and then accepting what comes up for you as a memory or a thought and just sitting with it and observing it. Don't relive the situation, observe it from the perspective you are now. And when you do that, you're able to see it from a different perspective. Try and see it from the other side for the other person or people that were involved. And all of a sudden, you'll just come to peace with it, because if you can see all perspectives, there's nothing to be afraid or angry about anymore, because you start to understand that they were doing the best they could, or they were operating on the program they were running. And you're being angry or being scared or fearful about things is only hurting you. It does nothing to them. Absolutely nothing. And so it's really important, because your body has trapped memory in it. All these traumas get trapped in the body, and then we hang on to them. And eventually, usually around midlife, it gets to a point where an autoimmune kicks in, might be cancer, might be minor health issues. But the goal is to realize that you're the one in control of it. And it's time to take control of you. Only you can control you, nobody else can. So even, you know, I talk about the energies going on, but I don't let it control me. I am really respectful of the fact that sometimes I need to nap more, and that's okay. I'm really respectful of sometimes it's not go time, it's hold time. It's learning to navigate in a new way, that I'm not in full control, but I am in control of what I do and what I say. I'm not in control of the highest outcome for me. In fact, surrendering to a higher source has been a really beautiful process. I still question it. We were just talking about it before the live. Yes, so still questioning things, but that's okay. I'm still accepting and allowing because I need to stay in that childlike wonderment. Yeah, beautiful. Yes, since Thursday. Absolutely. We have a 5-5 portal tomorrow too. Norma, do you want to add to that? The conversation around the chakras and trapping trauma and us being in control but not in control. Can you share your thoughts on that?
Wow, there's a lot to that if I'm to share, so I'll break it down as simply as I can. When we look at that, given that we are existing in these two realms, the chakra system is more like what you consider the esoteric
Yes.
level of the being that we are. And then we have the vessel that, is the tangible, that in which we are existing in this realm, where we're able to, have the means of the senses to feel, see, taste, touch, hear, the many um, experiential things that we can do on a daily basis. So it's one of those that when we understand that we're an energy being that's encompassing and is with this vessel, there's so much that you can get into the intricacies or the complexities of what all that stands for. But basically, when you understand that you're an energy being first, then if you can work on the energies, the body will begin to follow suit. Because when you look at your energy centers and you look at the chakras and you understand how they work, and you understand that they are basically more part of the cosmic clock than anything else, and you can understand the astrology and the significance in the planets and the roles that they play, and that the chakras are basically those energy lines that connect with the organs that are within the body. So when we begin to understand that, a lot of the ailments that as we age start to show up, especially, given the time that we were born into, and we begin to understand that that energy had to become something over time because it's set for so long. And we begin to understand what matter truly means. Matter is a thought that becomes a dense mass, so to speak. And when we begin to understand the masculine and feminine energies of the whole, and we're not just talking about the body, but the body is going to reflect what you see in nature, because nature is telling you what takes place depending on the vibratory level or state something is in. So when we get at that place where we were for so long in those lower vibratory states, because for so long we didn't have that level of connection and understanding as the being with the human, that we needed to keep that connection so we could keep ourselves in a higher level of vibratory state. And then on top of that, the things that we ended up having to experience through our life to understand that we were suppressed or oppressed in expressing those feelings, there was a lot that worked against us in those times. But knowing what we can do now, knowing that all we must do is understand energy, understand the chakra system, understand how to move that energy by knowing that it's time for you to be the observer and know that you were just only being and doing and having and seeking and anything else from a place of what you knew then, and to forgive yourself because you can't change it. You just must only understand that you do the best you could, any of us did, from where we were and what we were given. So when we come back, and like you said, if we can sit in that observatory space and place, and we do it with love, we're definitely going to see that broader and bigger picture of what took place in that time and period, because we're not just going to just forgive ourselves. We're going to forgive others too, because we're going to begin to understand that, well, this happened to me, it happened to them too. So
Right.
once we get to that space and place of understanding that, once we start moving that energy, that energy, once you start vibrating at a higher frequency for self first through that loving position and place that you have, then as you raise your vibratory state, that energy is going to start breaking down from that mass level of matterment, and it's going to start moving. So that's where you begin to understand how to get the chakra systems to start turning and to start flowing and to start raising your vibratory state by means and ways of the the video that you put on Telegram. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. Work with energy. the body will follow suit. And then through that, you'll begin to start, creating those habits that helps assist you in putting in the body what is needed in order to bring about the health that the body can, um, start to become stronger and more malleable, and be more directed by what you tell it to do.
Yeah, and as you're saying that, I'm being guided to actually map this out, so we'll have to do a little PowerPoint on this one, because the energy centers, the chakras, are actually where all your nerve bundles are. So if you think about it, somebody's getting on your nerves, or something happens and it's in your nervous system, right? Reacts. This is why things get trapped. And this is why chakras, yes, that sounds so woo-woo, but it's becoming more and more proven. But we can take it scientifically and say those are the energy. In fact, your crown has a crown of thorns. And those are the neurons around the top of your head, as an example. The base of your spine is your root chakra. Anybody ever tap their root chakra? Yeah, I seem to do it every now and then to remind myself, right? And so these are the, this is what's coming up for people right now. And to realize that when you forgive, you're not forgiving the other person, you're forgiving yourself for hanging on to it. You're releasing it from your system to let it go so that you don't have to struggle anymore. And that is definitely a big, it's letting go of what you can't control. And in that forgiveness, so Ho'oponopono is a very powerful prayer for that reason. And then you won't be triggered by them so much, right? When you've forgiven, you can let that energy go that's trapped there around that. And that really can be helpful. Laura's asking a question. Do chakras also line up with our endocrine system, hormones? Yes, I don't know exactly how. We would have to do some research on that, but I'm getting an oh yes. So thank you for asking that. It can let us tap into it a bit more. Yeah.
Right. And from my understanding by the question that you're asking, when you look at as T was talking about, the energy centers of the chakras, they are what you would say, what's the connection to our nervous system. Okay. And our nervous system is basically what you call the electrical system within the body. So as you get to understand how to utilize that energy and get those chakras, get the energy moving with those chakras, then the energy is going to begin to move within the body. So, how all this works, man, the body is a very intricate vehicle, but it's mighty when you understand the workings of, how each system works independently, yet works in tandem with the other systems. So, when you want to look at it, just like Bengal Tiger 8 is, asking, is having a real trouble distinguishing between physical and consciousness of our being. Some people believe we are just energy and the physical is just a construct of the consciousness. And to a level and degree, both are true. Because when you look at this and you begin to understand the construct and how it came to be, where such tangible and solid, it's because of the mental thought that our consciousness is put to the experience that we're having here. So this is just the micro version of who I ultimately am, So when we look at this, and
we're all giants,
right? So it's like, I know it's, as I've gotten to, allow myself in this human form to integrate more and more with that energy being that I am first, man, just the enormousness of the thought of that energy that I am is beyond comprehensive, beyond a thought or an imaginative spectrum of the size that we as energy beings are. And, getting ourselves integrated where we work in tandem with one another, the vessel with the energy beings that we are, man, I wait to see what I can do when I get more and more connected with all that, especially since I've become a little more adept to being grounded since the dead. So there's that, and I'm excited to see what more may come from that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Eddie, I get that it is confusing because Um, so many people have different versions and say it in different ways. So we are energy beings. I look at the body as an avatar, just like the movie Avatar, that you can step into this we choose. And it's a little more organic than that, in the essence that it's divinely created, right? Just like nature is divinely created. You see sacred geometry everywhere in nature. Well, sacred geometry is the cosmos, as above, so below, macro, micro. We can see that, and as we step into this further and further, in other words, as science catches up to consciousness, and consciousness is how we're thinking and feeling, and then there's a collective consciousness. Consciousness is energy too, and when they're talking about the physical being a construct, the physical is, if enough of us believe in the same thing, it becomes reality, so to speak,
Right.
right? And so, if a tree falls in the forest, does anyone hear it? Well, if nobody's there, no, as one of the examples for that. But I would say more importantly, for 5D, for example, and as we're shifting into this 4D and on to 5D, it's a dimension. But it's the first time we're ascending within this body. And so it's a consciousness, it's a way of thinking, a way of being. It means that we get to break down all the programming that we've had and come back to our original, what do you call it? Our original, not profile, come on, you know the word, Norma Jean. Our original
Blueprint.
blueprint, thank you. I knew there was a word we were using. The original blueprint of you. And it's super beautiful to pay attention to the fact that you do have an original. Do you remember where that is or how that feels? Some people do. And I believe we're all finding our way back to that right now, whether it's really quickly in like a near death experience, or it's slower because you're paying attention and you're doing the work, but you're also out doing a job. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Everyone's going to go with the exact way they're supposed to go about it, because we can't all do it the same. If we did, it would be chaos. We would have an apocalypse. So it's important that this happens the way it's happening. And there's no right or wrong way. And some people, it's their first time in a human body and they won't have this awareness, and they'll just look at you like you've got two heads and you're speaking a different language. And that's okay too. Yeah, absolutely. And Eddie just adds to that. I'm starting to understand. I just love my life so much. I find it hard to imagine anything else. Well, then you just keep saying, may this or something even greater show up for me. Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
Yeah. It's one thing that to understand this, that we are imaginative beings because we're creative.
Yeah.
But when we come to the space and place of the understanding of what this place significantly is, the truth of it, it's going to take time, because sometimes it's beyond an imagination. So you see, in order to know what the one thing I've come to understand is until I can get out of that space and place of formulating what I think it may look like, I will never know.
Yeah. So be curious. I don't try and figure it out. I don't try and we're not even allowed. We just keep getting, it's like being a ping pong ball and you're just like, okay, where are we going next? Oh, we're going this way. Okay, we're going this way. Like we just planned a trip over to Salt Spring Island. I've got some family in town and thought it'd be really nice because a friend has a place over there. She's not using it. I'm like, well, we'll use it. Well, my friend's now coming with us, which is great. And that we're going to, pop over there. So I can plan that. We've got the launch on Monday, maybe Tuesday, of our island trip, and had a great meeting with David about that and chatting about that. It's going to be quite magical. I'm very excited about it. We'll be going in a little bit early to check things out again. Hello, Kiwi Gal 17. Good to see you. But I can't plan, like I'm trying to book something for September and I'm still getting a little, it's like something's holding the back of my neck going, not quite yet, not quite yet. And so when it's time, I'll know. And that's how I operate now. And this is coming from A-type personality. I'm in control. I've got this. Get the hell out of my way. I'm going to make this happen. That is a far cry from who I am now. And so even my staff are like, you're not getting upset about this. I'm like, that only hurts me. And I explained it to them, you're creating your reality. So if you're complaining, who are you complaining about? Yourself? And I keep saying, if we have a challenging client, oh, aren't you grateful you're not like that? So I just have a different take on life now that they just don't quite get. So it's been really interesting to observe them observing me, so to speak, and seeing how I behave differently. Yeah. What about you, Norma? How much have you changed, not just in the last year, but say the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years?
Oh, wow. I've, the change came from growth. I've, I've grown up a lot. I've grown up a lot in my understanding. I've grown up a lot in, um, you know, gathering, as much information as I can because, sometimes we must go with what we're given. And, you know, when you're at that place, like I was for myself, I was at a place where it was like, okay, I'm not doing so good with, with what I've been given. So I must start or begin somewhere. And, and even at that time, it's like, well, I'm just going to start reading as many books and gathering as much information as I can so I can at least formulate a general clear idea as to which where to go from here. What am I capable of excuse me, as I continue to gain the knowledge and the information of what is here. Because at the time it was like so much of what I was experiencing in, still being oppressed or depressed and, my expression of this greater being that I am, on that energy level, I come to understand that I had to begin somewhere. So when you begin to know and recognize what I know now, it was at the time I went with the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So at this time, when you come to the significance of understanding that, the reason why it's called the tree of knowledge of good and evil is because this is where, as we go along and we begin to take in this information, we must understand that even at the time, I was understanding that, okay, I'll take what resonates and I'll leave the rest behind. Because if it was something that was just like, that's just not for me. I don't believe that. This right here makes sense. I'll utilize it, see what it does, and see what comes from that on an experiential level. So now it's at a point where now I've grown up so much in my understanding in the knowledge that I've gained over the years. Now it's just like I can rattle off things. Sometimes I know there's times I rattle it off in levels and ways that most people may not be able to understand how I'm bringing forth that information, but I've come to this place where I now know that I am leaning more towards the tree of life because that's a different tree, and that's the reason why whenever you look at the circle in the tree of life is upside down and sitting right side up, then you begin to understand that we have two worlds that we can utilize to live this life with, because I'm in a dream state here now just as much as I'm in a dream state whenever this vessel's asleep. So you're able to take those two and, we're always moving. We're always constantly moving and we don't know which way we're going. And it could be any way that, you can be anywhere at any point in time. So it's, and that's the great thing about the mind. You're present. The only way you know you're present is that you're here. And like right now, I'm very present. I'm having this conversation with you. This is where I am. This is my reality right now. But if I'm sitting here and you're having a conversation, you're talking and I'm going off somewheres because I'm in the process of understanding, what you're bringing forth, or I'm paying attention to what I'm being given. So you see, there's a difference because if I'm present, then I'm being given information. I'm being guided and leaded in understanding the conversations that we have. But if I'm going somewheres because I'm thinking about something, then I'm not in my present moment.
Exactly. And we were chatting about that. Laura, I will answer your question here in just a minute. So, and this may answer some of it for you because I'm being guided to say, yeah, would you call it future dreaming? You're going to have anxiety. Future jacking. That's right. You're putting yourself in the future and going, oh, what if? Well, the mind goes, oh, fuck, what do we do with this? And you start to have anxiety over it because it's out of your control. And so you stay present, bring yourself back, tap your chest. Breathe in for 4, breathe out for 6 through the nose only. Your nose is meant for breathing, your mouth is meant for eating. And so we'll leave that one there. But Laura has a good specific question. Struggling with physical attachment. I'm going through closets and trying to declutter, but I have a hard time getting rid of stuff, especially sentimental stuff from loved ones past. Yeah, I feel like it's coming from being lack in the past. Lack in the past. I can't get rid of it in case I need one day. Of being in lack. I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. It is one way of being. And here's what I know about stuff. It can weigh you down. And so quite often for memories of loved ones, doing a shadow box if you wanted to hang on to some stuff. And those are those picture frames. If it's items, right? You can make a shadow box and then that way becomes a piece of art. And that is a nice way to remember someone. You can take photos and put it in a photo album and choose to pull it out or not pull it out and save it for a future. And that's up to you. But definitely when one's decluttering, you have this sense of, I didn't need this anyway. Although, I've gotten rid of stuff and gone, I kind of needed that. No, you know what? At the end of the day, it was way worth getting rid of all that stuff and needing one thing and going and getting the right one versus hanging on to all this stuff just in case I need it sometime. So, but I understand. I understand where you're coming from. So, what happened in your childhood that needs to be looked at or released around that lack? Because I always try and stay present. Are you good now? Is everything okay? Have you always been okay? Norma?
You know, it's a beautiful thing. Just hearing, your reply to this, and and then understanding the question as it is, that when it comes to our loved ones, imagine that, because you mentioned that anything that we hang on to is something that weighs us down. And that's where weights and measures comes in to play, when you really understand what weights and measures mean. So weights and measures is what measures our currency and what we put out and what we are collecting as well. So that's where the balancing comes into play in the imbalance as well. So I put this forth to you just as a something just to contemplate. We're in a space and place at this period in time where we're becoming so much more of understanding what we're capable of. And in that, the one thing I can tell you is I don't own much. And due to that, I've had more experiences come my way by way of that more lighter, easier space and place of getting to a higher frequency and vibratory state. And here's why. Your family members and your loved ones that have passed on, although they had things, the one thing I feel that they would express to you is, I would rather you know that I am with you and around you by you feeling me than for you to hold on something that just only reminds you of me. So when you're able to move out and get the balance in the weights and measures where you can find that balance and you keep that balance, you'll never have to reach for something or remember who someone is, because you'll always know they're there.
Absolutely. Absolutely true. Thank you for your questions, guys. Anything else, you let us know, please. Yeah. And it is because Norma can see my cat that passed. I sense him sometimes. There was a dog following us the other day on a hike. The dog must have been having I'm like, I swear I just heard a dog panting, and I'm looking around and there's no dog. And Norma Jean's like, oh yeah, he's right behind you. And I was like, oh, he's following my energy. Okay. Yeah. And that's exactly true from what I've heard from people that have passed on. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You can get these messages and you can connect with them in new ways. And as we go through this, let's talk about the portal a bit, because I kind of just tapped on it and then walked off it. Tomorrow is the 5/5 portal. And I, for one, we'll talk about energy portals. I haven't talked a ton about these portals that occur because numbers also have a frequency which allows energies to shift and um, be a different way. And so they are called energy portals. It is an opportunity to bring more from the ethereal and those more esoteric levels down into the physical. And so tomorrow's one of those portals. And so originally, and we have a we have an in-person mushroom journey tomorrow in North Vancouver. So I just randomly doused days, and that was the one we got. So there's no mistake there. So we'll be having a beautiful day of sound bathing and hanging out with some peeps who are going on a little journey. It'll be really, really beautiful. And in this portal time, what can you do? How do you feel? I always go by, how are you feeling? How are you feeling in your body right now? And tomorrow, especially check in for that. Get up and do your grounding and get into that routine of managing your energy first before you go walking out the door and are shot around everywhere by everyone else's energy. Get your energy right. You can light a candle in the morning and set some intentions for that which you desire and let it burn as long as you're home for the day. So check that out. And the 5-5 portal, I look at it as, I call it future dreaming, right? To close your eyes and visualize, because your mind doesn't know the difference between a movie, what you see in front of you, and what you visualize. So you could do a poster board or something online. You can make yourself a movie. And I know Caroline does a great job of not only showing her house, but constantly posting on Facebook about these future dreaming places that she loves. And it's one of those things I always smile when I see them because I know it's for her, right? Where, every time we're in nature, we're like, yeah, more of this, please. Like more of living in nature. Yeah. Could you imagine having a carpet made of moss? Like having a cabin like that, a space? Yeah. Having a living home, right? To live in nature that way would be really beautiful. And then we've been talking about domes, and we've been talking with David about a particular property. So we're having these conversations about what could it look like, And there's so many opportunities. So what makes you feel really good? Start writing about it every day. Don't just use it as a portal day for that. Create a new habit tomorrow and add to it. And you can just manage your energy first and then spend some time future dreaming. A lot of people say it's 20 minutes meditation, 40 minutes future dreaming, but do what you can with it. Because I really don't think in these current energies where things are happening so much quicker that we don't need to spend that much time, space, 444 at it, that we have an opportunity to, like, I just slide that right in there. We have an opportunity to really put some attention and intention to what we truly want. And the more of us that do that, remember, the more of us affect the collective consciousness. The more attention we put on with that to that which we do want versus that which we don't like and don't want, because again, remember, your subconscious doesn't know the difference, the more people will shift this way. And the movement that has happened where you go from cognitive dissonance, I can't believe it, rabbit holes, depression, anxiety over that, and some fear, and then realize, okay, things are getting better. It's not what I thought it was going to be. Oh, look at this. There's some good news. And to the point where, like, then that continues forever. And finally you go, you know what? Screw it all. I'm done with it. I'm going to focus on me and what I can control and what I can do. And that's the most beautiful part. And that's the only thing I would use this portal for tomorrow is sit with the energies, see how you feel. You'll be getting more upgrades for the next few months anyway, whether you want to or not, or whether you realize it or not. It's going to be part of the rest of the year as far as I'm concerned from what I've been getting. And yeah, enjoy it for what it is. And when Norma Jean's done, I'm going to share our little card with you for the day.
Like I said, portals are everywhere.
Yeah.
If we look at double numbers, then we can look at it and say, okay, these portals just may be magnified at this time. Get out in nature, go find out, see what you come across, see what the energies are and what the difference is in your area, because they're there, and all you have is like the environment in which you're in. So go explore your environment. See what you come up with. Because when I look at 5-5 portal tomorrow, I just see 5-5. And then at that, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a balance. So that tells me that those two energies are going to be in balance with one another. Where
Beautiful.
is saying, come out, feel the difference in the vessel, but feel the difference in the air. Feel the difference of the magnetization or the electrification that may be higher here and not so much here, or these pockets there, here, there, everywhere, whatever it may be. Go out, find out what it feels like, because when you begin to understand what the energy feels like, guess what? You're going to know more and more about what you feel like and why you're feeling the way you feel. So you see, this is where you come into that space and place to allow yourself to understand what does it feel like both ways. So this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm looking at, and I can only imagine that once we get to our group tomorrow, I can only imagine what it is that we're going to experience, especially me, because it's like, oh, she does this every time she does this. And I'm like, how is it you keep getting them on these numbers or this, that? And it's like, okay, I'm there. I just, okay, let's see what happens.
Vedette. Vedette was a
energy. What was it?
Full moon.
It was it was a 2-0. Well, that, and then the next one we're having is a 20-2024.
Yeah.
So I was like, how do you keep doing this?
I dose for it. I'm just being guided, so it's not me. And one could spend all this time looking at the calendar. I'm just like, I'll just dose these dates. Yeah, these are the ones that are good ones. Yeah, it's happening for you, Norma Jean.
Always.
Yeah, absolutely. And Laura says, thank you both. I'm going through the thick of it, working it out, and I do feel it's related to childhood. I'm in tears. Yeah, love. Sending you so much love and remembering that tears are a really beautiful release. They're really required. Yeah, it's your body being able to release. So I'm grateful that you're having some tears, because I know what that feels like to have that release. And that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And it's so true. You've got this. This is part of the process. Yeah, absolutely. And then, oh yeah, let's give it this one, because Bengal Tiger, Eddie, the hardest thing is compromise, but that is also a choice. Like, my partner does this and I do something else, but we combine really well. We both compromise. Communicating your desires sometimes clash. It can. But you know what? You're not to be codependent, right? You're to be congruent together. You go apart, you do your own thing, you're independent, and then you can come together and share. I can't imagine 24/7 being on, like, my mom and dad were codependent. I witnessed it firsthand. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, they were definitely a team, and there's many beautiful things about it, but my mother no longer knows who she is without him. So Rebecca Lee just saw 555 time lapsed on the treadmill. Awesome. Of course you're on the treadmill. Yeah, absolutely. May, Sunday, Mother's Day. Mom's coming over from over east. Looking forward to see her 4,000-kilometer trip. Yeah, moms will do that, won't they? Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. And yes, we'll be on to talk about Mother's Day. And we've got a few things in the works, and we'll share more of that as we go. We do have the new pricing on the website, and make sure you sign up for the newsletter, you guys. It's really important, because we're gonna do a draw each month for a free healing. That's just one thing coming out of that. So everyone who signs up for that, and then we'll be introducing some other new, really reasonably cost memberships. So today's card for the collective is Bee Spirit, prosperity. Now, how fitting is that? Well, we've been seeing bees like buzzing around our head, running into us. So this is definitely a card for us and for the collective. But bees are really out right now. And to remember, they're an integral part of nature too. And they're really, they all hang out in a hive and they just know what to do. They don't think, oh, should I go out today? So sometimes you just gotta get your frequency up and buzz like a bee. Let's read this one out because it's good. In the meadow, the flowers are heady with their sweet scents. Bees flit from flower to flower, their droning sounds like the combined chants of 1,000 monks. And the bees do sound like that, don't they? As you watch, you can sense their focus on productivity and working in community. The result of their industry is golden amber honey. This card can be a wonderful sign that abundance and sweet energy is coming your way. It can also be a card of productivity and organization. So if you've been indecisive, disorganized, or unfocused, this card can mean it's time to focus. Reprioritize your life. Have you been too busy? With nothing to show for all your work, decide what is most important and take steps in those directions. For only you can do that. And to activate the prosperity you desire, this card also can signify it's time to work hard. Be willing to put in time and energy, and your goals will be attained. Your efforts will pay off. Bees work together. So also consider whose energy aligns with yours and how you might collaborate to achieve your desires. By doing this, good fortune will ensue. Throughout history, bees and their productivity are admired because they bring us honey, which is associated with the sweetness of life, nourishment, and wealth. Honey is also associated with gold in many legends. The message bee spirit brings is that with diligent work, you will gain gold. The spirit of the bee says, the sweet abundance of the universe is flowing into your life. However, you need to take action and perhaps join with others to align with the frequency of your dreams. Believe that you deserve, and your goal will unfold. Beautiful. Arlene says lots of bees around my trailer. Absolutely. See? There, and it's a healing frequency as well. Beekeepers live longer than anyone else, apparently. Yeah, absolutely. And Eddie says, I love bees and honey is my sugar. I often let them land on me. Love it. Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing to be afraid of. Yeah. I'd much rather have a bee landing on me than a big ass mosquito. Yeah.
Pesky boogers.
Yeah, exactly. 1111 says Rebecca. You just can't make this up. No, you can't. So we're inviting you today to take some time for self, to get yourself grounded, to be like a bee. Bees don't work too long. They go and they rest. They go habitate with others. They're in a common unity. And we could learn a lot from the bees just for that. And bees spend all day out in nature. So what are you doing with your time? Where are you spending it? What brings you joy? And I'm being reminded, childlike wonder, what brings you joy? When you move your body, you move your energy. Tai Chi, Qi Gong, walk in nature, yoga, dancing, whatever brings you joy in that way. Shake your booty. Norma Jean.
It's it's like you said, get out there. I mean, tomorrow it's 5-5. Okay, cool. Go see what it has to show you.
Yeah.
There's much for it to show. I mean, if we're going to create something from it, go see what it's going to show you. You've put your focus there. Now put an intent, but allow that intent to be something that you utilize for you. Let it be for you. See who you are. Have it to, show you what you're capable of. Keep tapping in, because the more and more you get to know who you are, the more and more you're going to move out of understanding that you don't have to continue to think you have to live the way that you live any longer. I mean, this place, I mean, is it still a pain in the ass? Yeah. There's still some things that can be a pain in the ass about this place. But here's the thing. My reality is here. My reality is what I do to utilize it in each moment as to what I want it to bring back to me. So I utilize this time instead of, saying that I focus on what is going on out there, because I know it's like anything else. It's a roller coaster. So I say, what can I do now? Because I don't have to know what's going on out there. I can feel this roller coaster. What can I do now to take the currency, my energy, and put it forth towards something that will bring about something that will help assist people or others to get past where they are. So I use that energy to become creative with. And with that, it's let's see what happens. I put that out there because I know that until I take that currency and I invest it in something, it sits stagnant. So now I just choose I'm going to put my currency here. I'm going to invest it in this area. I'm going to invest it in that area because this is where I'm taking and putting my energy flow because that's where my focus and intent is. So I know at some specific point in time, it's going to start coming back. There will be a return on that investment. And that's what I can do right here, right now. And I get out with T, we go out in nature. I do what I can to invest my time and my focus there because I know it's going to return to me as well. And that's going to be more and more broader expansion in the arena and in the area of getting to know more about who I am and becoming more and more and more of that. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
like T says, keep being that childlike wonderment. See what happens. Tell us.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it. And remember, even when you make yourself smile, your body doesn't know that, you're forcing yourself, right? So do what brings you some joy. Like I can be super goofy even first thing in the morning when I don't even want to talk about my dream last night, but I was like, oh, let's collapse that timeline because that was not my reality. And then, I have to get up and do something to shift me around. So I was cutting lemons and the smell of the lemons, I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. So it can be a scent, it can be a sound, it can be something you observe. So whatever you need to do to shift you. And yes, Eddie, Eddie says, I love that bee talk. The hives are Fibonacci patterns, everything in nature. There's so much Fibonacci. And let's go, 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 5, 5. Absolutely. Sending so much love to all of you. And yeah, we really want to hear from you. Let us know how tomorrow goes. Absolutely. And Rebecca's got a comment. I realized I've been doing too much planning, working. All I need to do is knowing I don't need to do jack. Relax more, play, and choose to be joyful. That's right. You've got a great daughter, Rebecca, that I think she's guiding you. That's what I just got told. So if you got young kids, they're guiding you. Take them out in nature. If you got grandkids, take them out in nature. They will remind you of that childlike wonderment. They can't help it. So sending you all lots of love. Have a beautiful day. And we're live on Monday with Ashala, 11 a.m. PT time. Sorry, Australia and UK. But you can watch the recording. But that's the only time Ashala had. So sending love. Bye.